Their aloofness and grace are beguiling, their passion for meat unsurpassed. Cats are the masters of ambush, the champions of sneak attacks. Across the African savanna, 3 separate species stalk the same prey. The cheetah, the leopard, and the lion may have similar tastes, but their skills and their strategies differ. None has a definite edge. All 3 species must face the same environmental hardships and still give their youngsters care, protection, and special training. As a hunter, each cat must compete to survive in a world ruled by tooth and claw. In the dim light of a new day, the race between life and death gathers momentum. Fear propels the victim as much as hunger drives the predator. Sunrise signals one last chance to hunt before the heat. Lions of the open plains know that daylight undermines surprise attacks. They prefer the cover of night. Then, a cat's binocular vision is 6 times better than our own. Sometimes the dawn appears before there's been a kill, so a new team of females sets off. Patience, skill, and judgment are required to take down prey. To overpower larger game, the lions have developed strength, but at the expense of stamina and speed. Because it can easily be outrun, the cat must inch up without being detected. It uses cover very effectively. A member of the team charges from a different direction, evidence that a complex strategy is in play. Even cooperative hunts fail more often than they succeed. A solitary lion captures large prey only 15% of the time, while the success rate of a group effort can double. To clutch and kill without getting maimed, by hooves or in some cases horns, the hunter grips the throat with a stranglehold until all motion stops, an effort which can take 15 minutes. Depending on their age and sex, adults need a minimum of 10 to 15 pounds of meat a day just to maintain health. But lions will gorge if they can, devouring over 100 pounds when the rare opportunity arises. Privilege appears to be reserved for the adult males. Though they usually do not hunt, they always eat first. The male's hefty size slows it down as a killer, but suits its role as protector and stud. As the temperature mounts, a network of scavengers takes advantage of the thermals. Guided by uncanny vision, vultures search for unclaimed carrion or abandoned leftovers. The marabou stork must wait its turn at this beggar's banquet. While rigorous protocol governs the scavengers, status is not determined by size. Next to the lion, the spotted hyena is Africa's largest predator. And like the lion, a hyena will scavenge whenever possible. It can extract nourishment from every paltry scrap the lions leave behind, except for hair, which is just about the only animal product a hyena cannot digest. Agility, coupled with boldness, enables a jackal to dart in and steal bits from a hyena that's busy crushing bone. Instead of fighting over food, these dog-like carnivores compete by eating as much and as fast as possible. It takes 38 hyenas just 15 minutes to completely consume an adult zebra they've killed, leaving virtually nothing for the waiting vultures. Eyeing the sky for scavengers helps a nomad lion find food. By the age of 3, male offspring are ousted from their natal pride. Littermates often stick together, but with no territory and no hunting skills, the banished must wander and rummage for meals. Because lions are social cats, an outcast may join up with others like him. Then, once the coalition matures, it can try to overthrow the males of a pride. But more often, a young lion must keep a low profile and depend on luck. Many die early of malnutrition or wounds. Though ousted males live a hazardous life, the pride as a whole does benefit. If males were not periodically exiled or toppled, inbreeding would guarantee genetic disaster for the entire group. Their unstable status keeps a pride robust, while the environment extends life to the resourceful. All the cats, from domestic kittens to these savanna stalkers, share a remarkable number of similarities. But the outstanding attribute that sets lions apart from other felines is their sociability. Group living has proven advantageous to the individuals of this species. Related females form the basis of lion society. From 3 to 18 make up a pride: mothers, daughters, sisters, nieces, cousins, sometimes even a grandmother. The ties that bind are continually reinforced by shared activities like cub rearing, hunting, and personal grooming. Unencumbered by a mane or the male's greater bulk, a lioness can hunt for herself and manage on her own. But having evolved as a social creature, she thrives among family. Because they cooperate rather than compete, females survive at least 3 or 4 years longer than males, who rarely make it past the age of 12. "20 hours of daily rest and ample assistance with rearing cubs seems like an easy life. Keeping a pride fed, however, demands a lot of energy, which must be conserved for optimal hunting at night. Understanding feline body language allows the zebras to graze nearby, not as helpless victims, but as well-matched contenders vying for life. In a pride, the male primarily functions as a breeding partner for any lioness that's in heat. It's exhausting work. Though mating is intense and strenuous, both sexes are equally motivated to further their individual genetic heritage. Each encounter is very brief, but it's repeated at an average rate of every 20 minutes and continues for about 5 days. Hundreds of copulations are apparently necessary in order to stimulate ovulation. Several times a year, a number of pride females go into heat simultaneously, or all of them might, if their cubs have been killed during a takeover. The loss of a litter quickly triggers estrus, but with one male for every 3 females, mating demands a great deal of stamina. Often, the male's drive to promote his genes can diminish within a few days. But the females are not particular. In a pride of several males, when one tires, there's a chance for others. This practice virtually eliminates rivalry. Breeding may require extensive and exhaustive effort, but each male only has a few years of opportunity. He's at his peak between 5 and 6. By the age of 8, he starts losing weight, and his token of virility, the mane. Not only is there little time biologically, but most males are part of a pride for no more than 2 years, 4 at the outside. Once deposed by younger challengers, very few ever regain their stature. a pile of little lions, some from an earlier batch, but all of them related. These cubs will grow up as Africa's largest carnivores, if they survive. A lioness typically gives birth to 3 or 4 offspring, but about half die before they're a year old. It's been estimated that lions mate 3,000 times for every cub that survives its first year. Simultaneous pregnancies produce large nurseries. The mothers share their milk with all the cubs, just as they share other aspects of communal living with one another. The daycare helps a cub to survive, especially if it's orphaned. Of course, a milk moocher must figure out which females are nursing. The cubs remain in a maternal group for about 6 months. Lions are nursed considerably longer than other cats. The adults are patient and tolerant. They are also very protective. But during times of scarcity, when large prey is not available, the little ones are abandoned or allowed to starve. The survival of a species demands efficiency. It's better for a lioness to lose her young, but live to have another litter. Otherwise, she could easily starve by feeding cubs whose life is uncertain even under favorable conditions. The cheetah, fastest mammal on Earth, and one of the most vulnerable. It's superbly designed to capture the swiftest antelope, but speed has its limits. With one sudden, sharp turn, a dainty Thompson's gazelle can outmaneuver a cheetah that's closing in at 70 miles per hour. Her failure goes beyond her own hunger. As her cubs will discover, critical timing must compensate for very little stamina. In less than a minute, the cheetah overheats. A 300-yard dash sends her body temperature soaring, disabling her for at least half an hour. This family has more than the average 3 or 4 cubs at the moment. In some cheetah populations, nearly 90% of the young fail to survive their first 3 months. With only a hard-working mother to protect them, about half the cubs fall victim to a range of predators, from lions to the larger eagles. Or they die of starvation. The females are successful hunters, but their kills are sometimes confiscated. Because of her shy nature, the female cheetah often falls victim to other predators looking for an easy meal. Like cheetahs, the wild dogs are diurnal. To avoid competing with hyenas and lions at night, they endure the heat. And like the cheetahs, the dogs eat only freshly killed meat. Though neither species hoards or scavenges, when desperate, a pack will steal the cheetah's prey or kill its cubs. The cheetahs escape detection. Cubs are weaned when they're about 3 months old. While still sucklings, however, they may take part in a kill. They receive very early training. Stragglers suggest a nearby herd, but the mother must take precautions to minimize danger while she is away. For the first few months, her cubs are moved a short distance every 4 or 5 days to avoid detection as odors build up. But now, they're led to the shade of a tree and away from the path of the dogs. Cheetah families seem closely knit and get along very well, but they break up when the young are just 18 months old. A daughter may end up sharing part of the mother's range, though the males must move at least 12 miles beyond her territory. But they leave in a group and often stay together for life. A nursery herd of impalas. A cheetah with youngsters to feed. Once the cat's within charging range, flight will trigger pursuit. To prepare her cubs for independence, the mother provides a practice session. The chokehold the cubs have watched on previous occasions is now imitated. But even the adults have small canines, which can't sink in very far. So a steady pressure must be applied to the victim's windpipe. The killing bite may take more than 5 minutes, but it works. Few predators of the African savanna hunt while the sun is high. Because of competition, cheetahs have no choice. One male watches while the rest listen over the drone of flies. These coalitions are often made up of brothers. The siblings stick together for added protection from lions, hyenas, and rival males. Several cheetahs hunting together can pursue bigger prey. A large male impala would provide each cheetah with meat. Its range once extended from Africa all the way to the Far East. Even today, the leopard is more widely distributed than any wild cat in the world. Its diet ranges from beetles to antelope twice its own weight. As the least specialized of the big cats, the leopard relies on versatility. While the lion's strength and the cheetah's speed are pluses for those predators, the leopard's is flexibility. But it's only 1/4 the size of a lion, and it always hunts alone. Snaring an adult hartebeest is beyond its ability, despite a gnawing hunger. Exceptional agility helps the leopard mount an escape when pursued by much larger predators like the lion or the hyena. Its skill as a climber also enables the cat to survey the savanna for prey, or later, to cache a kill. But above all, the leopard's climbing advantage allows it to ambush a victim. Eating and storing kills in a tree is a difficult trick not all leopards need to learn. In regions where this cat is the top predator, the ploy hasn't developed. But here, competitors must be taken into account. The arrival of lions changes everything. It's no longer a question of holding on to the carcass, but a matter of getting away. If there were no spoils to appease them, the lions would target the leopard itself. Competing with the lion in the same locale for the same wild game suggests only one efficient tactic: avoidance. The leopard works around the lion's routines and whereabouts. But sometimes the unexpected happens. Very rarely have lions been recorded climbing a tree. Typically, collaboration soon reverts to a savage scramble for meat. Still hungry, but alive to try again. The leopard most often hunts at night, when darkness conceals its presence. But now, it's only a question of finding an opportunity before weakness sets in. Sometimes, instead of an ambush, the leopard stalks its prey, just like its close cousins, the lion, and the great cat of Asia, the tiger. It starts with the search. The stalk, the sprint, the takedown. The killing bite. Food to fuel at least a week of life. Perhaps. The grass that sustains the herds of East Africa starts to wither by the end of June. To stay alive, hordes of grazers follow long-established routes to distant pastures. As most of the game moves on, the hunters follow. A nomadic lion may shadow the migrants throughout the trek, but a pride can trail the herds only to the edge of its home range without risking the loss of its turf. The 3 or 4 months of unrelenting heat are hardest on the herbivores, who must have access to water. Carnivores, like the lion, can get liquid from the flesh they consume, but the scorching temperatures place a heavy burden on the entire savanna community. For the grazers that stay behind, there is less grass. For the predators, less game. If any animal seems in command during the drought, it is the fly. Like the oppressive sun, the flies are everywhere, and no mammal is spared their subtle tyranny. Parched and depleted, life is held hostage within walls of heat. Even time and space seem to warp. Under cooler conditions, a leopard may manage without any water at all. But now, the burning heat is inescapable, even in the shade. An experienced mother knows when to turn a deaf ear. Her cub is tired of being in a tree, despite the protection it provides. Cubs are sometimes left alone for 3 days, but an adaptable nature helps their independence. Bonds remain strong, and reunions can take place after separation has occurred. A mother may even continue to share her kills until it's time to mate again. Death litters the plains, while clouds promise relief to those who can defy the drought a little longer. For the cheetah and her cubs, the casualties provide no benefit. Their meat must be fresh. They're on the move more often these days, in search of luck. Most of the Thompson's gazelles on which the cheetahs depend are now in the wooded savanna beyond this family's territory. The termite mound offers a wider field of view and better exposure to the breeze. Insects persist, but they're worse in the dry grass, which can conceal greater jeopardy. The only recourse is evasion, though overheating must be avoided by everyone. For the lion, it's far better to invest in scavenging. The cover that the grass affords eliminates all hope of comfort. Here, the insects have the upper hand. The cheetah's supreme speed amounts to nothing. Above all, adaptability is indispensable. It can mean life or death while waiting for the herds to return. Grazers like the wildebeest time their arrival in anticipation of the rains, which they can detect from a distance of 30 miles. Downpours drench the savanna every afternoon, but they last only 2 months, tapering off in December. During the brief season of rain, the land is revitalized. Lions prefer to leave wet areas, so a leopard can let down its guard. But survival always demands a degree of alertness. Whether to danger or opportunity. The days of thirst are over. The leopard's adaptability continues to pay off. It can now target the young born during the recent rains. A warthog piglet. Like the rain that nourishes grass and the grasses that nourish the herds, one creature dies to nourish another. The laws of nature never change, but nature itself is constantly changing. For those that are hunted and the cats that must hunt, the challenge is one and the same: to adapt so that they may survive in a world that is ever changing.